And we should be live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of Laravel Internals. My name is Nuno, and I'm with my colleague Dries. Hi, Dries.
Hey Nuno, what's up?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. You?
I'm doing fantastic as well. Super excited for this episode. Once again, it's been like, I think, 1 or 2 months since the last episode where we were all together, the entire team, and that was super fun as well.
Yeah, Christmas gathering, right?
Yeah, that was fun. Oh, yeah, it was like 1 or 2 days before Christmas, I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
First time we were all together in the same video conference or video Zoom
Exactly.
call.
Yeah.
All right, so today we have multiple topics: Laravel EU, open source, Forge, Vapor, and Spark as well. I know that everyone is super excited about Spark because Taylor just released the video this morning, and the video was fantastic. So yeah, let's start this episode by talking about Laravel EU. And Dries, you made a talk over there about GraphQL. How was it?
Yeah, went well. Like the stream had some technical difficulties at some point, but overall it went pretty well. It was a nice format, like doing it all online. It's of course not the same thing as like meeting people in person at a real physical conference. Of course, I do miss those, and I hope we'll get back to those as soon as possible. But it was fun. It was lots of great talks, a cool experience to have. I also went first, so that was nice to like bite off the spits of beta, as we say here in Belgium. But yeah, it went pretty okay. Got some great reactions on the talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy that you demystified a little bit what GraphQL is about. For me, it's like a complicated topic, so I'm glad that you made it easy, especially with Laravel examples. Everything that makes it so easy for people that don't know the specific topic.
Yeah, like it was pretty hard to make a basic talk out of it because GraphQL is a pretty complex tooling, as you say, and there's just so much going about the tool itself. Like it has so many features, so many different kind of aspects that you can utilize. But like making like a basic starting point for people to get started was a real challenge at the beginning, and I had to leave out so much. I could do like a full series on it, really, to introduce people to it. But yeah, I think overall it went very well. Like I showed like the real basics of what GraphQL is and how you can get started practically using Lighthouse. And I think it went okay. Yeah.
Nice. And you always come up with this complicated, but you make it easy for us. But I remember that 1 year ago you made a talk about event source. 2 years or 3 years ago you made a talk about APIs and how to design APIs or something. So I'm glad that you made it. Nice.
Yeah.
So now about open source. And in open source we have a topic which is the parallel testing. And parallel testing is a big topic, especially for me because I started working in this idea in December, and I remember that initially we wanted to ship parallel test in Laravel 9, and because the release schedule have changed, we kind of ship it in Laravel 8, and that made everyone super happy. The reaction on Twitter from the community was overwhelming. So for those who don't know what parallel testing is, I'm going to try to explain it for you guys. So basically, when you run like vendor bin PHP unit, what happens is that PHP unit will execute your tests sequentially in using just one process. Now, the problem about this is that if you have a modern computer, your test can be seriously bottlenecked because you need one test to finish to start a new one. So what parallel testing is about, it's basically shipping or firing multiple processes to execute a test suite in parallel. Now, the results have been fantastic, and the reaction from the community have been fantastic as well. We have test suite that got 5 times faster, and I remember one specifically to you, Dries, which is Laravel IO, which is one of the first applications that I have tried parallel testing, and that was like 5 times faster, and it was like already ready for parallel testing, which got me surprised, and it was like a big test suite.
Nice.
We have test suite that got 3 times faster, 2 times faster, and there was images everywhere on Twitter. That was super fun.
Yeah, so there were like lots of replies from people like saying their testing speed got like 30% or 40% increases. It was great to see those numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, made me really happy. And I think the reason why people also got excited about it is that they just need to have the flag parallel to their currently command, let's say, and that just works. And that was basically the work, because by underlying the feature, we use a tool from the ecosystem called it Paratest. Now, Paratest already does this job of spanning multiple processes and running PHP unit. But the real job, or the real work I have done, is really making sure you can use Laravel testing features without having conflicts. For example, the testing database testing features from Laravel. If you use the same database across multiple tests in parallel, you will find troubles. So that's why the feature of parallel works great is because we create multiple databases and one database per process. And the same goes with all the different goodies from the framework, like storage fake also creates a different folder for each process. So yeah, that's why things just work so seamlessly.
Nice. What were some of the other challenges you faced while developing the parallel testing feature?
Well,
like I can imagine like investigating all of the like separate process stuff, and is that all done by Paratest already, or did you have to like do a lot of custom stuff yourself?
Yeah, Paratest does a lot. I must admit that Paratest does a lot. And I think the most challenged thing I have faced is making sure that once people run parallel testing in their current projects, existing projects, things will just work. So that's why we have adapted like the database testing component of Laravel with all the 4 drivers that we support, meaning that MySQL, Postgres, SQL Server, which is something that I never have touched before, SQLite in files and in memory. So that was a challenge as well. And also a challenge was making sure packages can hook into parallel testing, because as you know, for example, there is packages that also had features to Laravel in terms of testing. So we have made a small API. I'm not sure if everyone is aware about this, but you can use a parallel testing API to set up hooks to parallel testing. So basically, people that are developing testing features for Laravel as a package developers, they can hook into parallel testing as well very easily.
Was that for like packages like Dusk and ProCircuit testing?
Well, Dusk doesn't support parallel testing yet, but eventually, if Dusk would support parallel testing, it would use that API.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. In other packages that, for example, snapshot testing, which is something from Spatie, eventually, if they want to support something like parallel testing, it would be through that API that we have developed.
Nice. Like I'm actually preparing Dusk 7 a little bit behind the scenes. So we could maybe like look into it if it makes sense to make it into the next major version for that. Yeah.
That's probably a good idea. Like we got some questions on Twitter about people that wanted to use parallel testing while using Dusk to get the same performance result.
I know I know Mir is also like pretty busy with Dusk itself for Test Bench, so you could check in with them to see if we can support it.
Yeah. Eventually, if we had Dusk support for parallel testing, will be through that API that we have developed. And one problem that we probably will face is that I'm not sure if Chrome Atlas can have multiple instances at the same time.
Yeah.
So something as well to explore.
Definitely.
Anyways, to get started with parallel testing, you just need to update to the latest version of the framework, of Laravel 8 framework, and the latest version of my package, called it Collision. Once you do this, you can start using parallel testing and improve your test suite performance fast.
Nice.
We get a question from the chat to Dries.
All right.
Oh yeah, but I don't have the question here, so I cannot show the question. But the question is, what other features are you planning or looking into Dusk 7? Eventually, if you have an answer for this. If you don't, it's fine.
At the moment, it's not going to be too much. Like I looked at a pull request and issue today, even for Mac M1 support for the new ARM-based Macs, because like the current Chrome drivers, which we download, are all based on the Intel processors so far. So we're looking into ARM support for the next version. We're also dropping some support for old Laravel versions, old PHP versions, because our matrix builds were getting quite big, and it doesn't really make sense anymore for us to support those old versions because they're going to be unsupported anyways in September, especially Laravel 6, which is the latest LTS version, which is going to be dropped in September and be replaced by Laravel 9. So more like some maintenance work behind the scenes, but like the parallel testing could be a thing we could look into, which could be cool. And yeah, nothing major so far.
Okay, that's a question that I always get, because you that maintain multiple open source packages, you basically just, for example, go up to Laravel 6, Laravel 6 and up to that? You mean, because you said that you're deprecating Laravel version, so I believe you deprecate everything below Laravel 6, correct? You're planning on.
So far, like a lot of packages are already like requiring Laravel 8, the only version we support in terms of new features. Because like sometimes there's like breaking changes between those major versions, which we can't support in one specific major version of a single package anymore. But Laravel 6 like is coming to an end in September. I think like the bug fixing part, I think it still has like 1 year left for security fixes. I'm not entirely sure for that. And Laravel 7 has been like out of support for quite a while already, for half a year already. And now that we're moving to like a yearly cycle, you'll see the dropping of support for major versions of Laravel in our first-party packages lesser. So it won't be like every single every half year or something that we drop support. But sometimes we need to do it to move ahead and make use of the latest features, and like not put too much maintenance work on ourselves for supporting those versions, because that's also like a big thing for us to do if we have to support like all of these old versions of Laravel. So sometimes it makes sense to drop those old versions. I think like Scout was, or Socialite, I'm not sure, one of those two, or Slack notification channel was one of those packages that still like supported like Laravel 5.6 or 7 even, like way back. That like an entire matrix range, which was super crazy. But I think we recently also like dropped a lot of those in a new version. So yeah, sometimes we need to do that, unfortunately.
It makes totally sense, huh? Still about open source, I know that you have worked a lot in the last couple of weeks on Cashier. Can you share news about it?
Yeah, I was pretty happy to work on Cashier a little bit as well. It's definitely one of my favorite packages in the Laravel ecosystem to work on. And I specifically worked on the Cashier Stripe package recently. Like I had a pull request open for Stripe checkout support already from back in September. But because we were working on the latest Spark, on the new Spark version, we decided to like not merge that at first, to like make sure that everything is working as intended for the latest Spark version. So that got delayed a little bit. But recently, I think like 2 weeks ago, we merged it, we shipped it, and was very happy about it. So Stripe checkout is basically like their hosted payment page. So you only need to like define your products that you're creating a subscription for, and the quantities and whatnot. and you generate a button which the user can click, and they're taken to a hosted page by Stripe where they can enter their payment info, their billing address and stuff like that, their coupons, whatnot, and just do the entire billing flow through that payment page, which saves you tons of time for developing that on your own. And as you know, like the upcoming Spark will have such a page as well from its own. So that's all going to save you like a lot of time of not having to build that yourself. And the Cashier version, which we shipped on Tuesday, also brought a new exciting feature, which a lot of users over the years have been requesting, and that's metered billing support. So metered billing support is basically for a service like Mailgun or like Nexmo, where you have like quantity-based subscriptions where you invoice based on the usage of a user. So imagine if like I'm using Mailgun and they have like a plan for like that you can send up like to 10,000 of emails per month, and you're invoiced based on how many emails you send. And that's what metered billing is with Stripe. So you can like say, I subscribe to a 10,000 meter plan, and then you report like, okay, the customer has used one email, 2 more emails, and you report that usage to Stripe. And at the end of the billing cycle, monthly, yearly, whatever you have decided, Stripe will invoice the customer based on how many of those emails they've sent. It's a really cool feature. I think like it's probably a little bit niche. I don't think like too many people are developing apps like this, but like for those that are, this is going to make things like a whole lot easier for them. Cashier Paddle already had support since a few weeks ago. They have like a similar feature called, what's it called again? It's on the tip of my tongue. The modifier, subscription modifiers, that was it. It's basically the same thing, but like it works a little bit different because Paddle works a little bit different than Stripe. And yeah, I'm really glad that we got to ship that this week. Yeah.
Okay, because you early this morning you told me that you were not involved directly with the new release of Spark, but apparently you worked in Cashier that is used underlying or behind the scenes by Spark itself. So you are involved as well, right?
Yeah, so like I guess it ties in a lot as well. Like as you know, like Spark is built on top of Cashier, and so it makes use of a lot of those features. But mainly, like the new Spark version is all Taylor and Mohammed. Really, they've done a great job on it. Especially Mohammed, he's worked a lot on it and on the basics and the foundations of the new Spark. He's done a really great job on it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And when we were starting this topic about open source, you spoke about the changes in the release cycle of Laravel. I'm wondering if you could say a few words about it.
Definitely. Like I think like this because I've been around for Laravel since I think like I first started using it back in 2012, if I remember correctly, and version 4 came out in 2004, and I think like ever since 2014, when Laravel 5 came out, or like the last Laravel 4 version, we've had like this fixed release cycle where we would do like a major release every half year and bug fixes in between. And but a real paradigm, as Taylor likes to call them, paradigm release hasn't really been done since Laravel 5, because that was like a really big change in terms of like how folders were structured, some really big breaking changes, some big new features, and like the release cycle has been the same ever since. But at some point, I'm not really sure which year it was. I think it was 2018 or 19. Or even before, we introduced semantic versioning, because semantic versioning is like basically the industry standard at this point in of how packages, frameworks, and versioning is done basically in our industry. And Laravel was a little bit the lone sheep in the pack, I guess, with having its own kind of versioning system, and that really confused especially newcomers to the framework, like on how things work. Like they would update to a new major version, which was basically like a minor release in semantic version standards. So they're sometimes they would face breaking changes, wonder why that happened, and it was just like really confusing. So it made sense for us to move to like the same versioning scheme that other frameworks and other packages used, because it's just like easy for people to understand that way. But because that happened, like a lot of people also like thought like suddenly the releases went very fast, because we released a Laravel 5 back in 2014 or something, and then suddenly like we were releasing Laravel 6, 7, 8 every half year. And people were like, what the hell is going on? Like, why are they suddenly speeding up? But while in reality, like nothing's changed. Like everything stayed the same. The only thing that changed was a number at the beginning. And that really confused people. And now that we were going to Laravel 9, we realized that like the framework had really matured at this point, because we didn't really had lots of breaking changes for Laravel 9 already, and almost no new features except like the parallel testing and fly system 2 as well. But that was like basically it. And we were thinking like, yeah, like this isn't really like needed anymore to do it every half year, because like it's just like more work for package maintainers. Like maintainers would have to like support the new major versions, especially like Spatie and other like companies who host a lot of packages who every time they have like tons of work to do the new major releases. So it really imposes like a burden onto app developers and package maintainers for like keeping up with those new major versions. And we just decided to like slow things down and just try doing it once a year and not like 2 times a year. And I think this makes sense in terms of like where the framework is now at this point, how it has matured, and the direction which we're going in. It also, like Taylor said, it challenges us a little bit to like introduce new features with less breaking features. So breaking changes, I mean, so we can ship them sooner to our users. But for those breaking changes, probably a year is okay. Like it's not that bad that it's like a year away if you need to wait for something. So yeah, I think like that will hopefully solve a lot of the confusion around how fast the framework is doing releases, and also like not impose too much burden onto app developers and package maintainers to keep up with new versions. Yeah.
And you mentioned something very interesting, which is Taylor said that this also challenges developers or contributors to Laravel to introduce features without making breaking changes. And I think the framework really is come to a point where it's super easy to introduce features without making breaking changes using just service providers or events or even macros or whatever. So I think it makes totally sense to give this extra effort to developers to not introduce breaking changes. And this will save tons of time to everyone, to package developers, because we don't need to bump the Laravel framework version on every single package. It saves time to people because they get the latest security fixes, the latest features without having almost zero work besides performing a composer update. So I'm a supporter of the new release cycle and happy that this has happened to us as well.
Definitely. Like I think like most of the things like which we can control are of course external dependencies, like Fly System 2 doing new major version. Like it's a bit unfortunate that got delayed until September, because like it was fully ready to go in Laravel 9. But at the same time, like I think it's fine. Like Fly System version 1 is still maintained by Frank. It's not going anywhere too fast. So yeah, it's fine that it's like not at this point. But yeah, I'm hoping that people will like the new version as well when it comes out in September. Yeah.
Okay. All right, everyone, that's it for open source. Now moving to Vapor. And in here I have a couple news, starting by the new Vapor video series, which Eric just mentioned here in the chat that he is happy with the new video series of Vapor. And I'm super happy about making this video series too. So for those who didn't notice, in our Laravel channel, which is this one you are watching this podcast, we have a new playlist called Learn Laravel Vapor. And this is something I have started a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and we are already with 8 episodes. This video series is basically about getting you started with Vapor. And I really think this is a very important step in Vapor, because in Forge, we also have this Getting Started to Vapor series hosted on Laracast. And I think video learners like this a lot. They want to see how Forge works, so they go to the video series. And I thought that we are lacking this on Vapor, so we decided to make this video series so people that like videos, they can just getting started with Vapor while watching these videos, and demystifying a little bit what is Vapor and what is serverless and how actually Vapor will fit your application. So yeah, we have 8 episodes. The full series will have about 21 or 22 videos. And yeah, I'm enjoying a lot making these videos. It's cool.
Yeah, nice. Like, is it your first full series that you've made, or have you done something like this before?
So I have done videos, but like standalone videos, not a series. But the series is a lot of work. Full respect to everyone who does series, because it is a lot of work making sure everything fits together, all the episodes, that you can finish one episode and start the new one, and making sure things make sense, that you don't repeat content, that at the end everything will make sense. So you need to prepare kind of everything in advance, and then you need to edit all the episodes to make sure everything makes sense as well as an episode. So,
and like, how did you approach like the content itself? Like, how did you decide it? Like, this goes in, this doesn't, and this is important, and this isn't. Like, how did you tackle that?
Yeah. So the way that I wanted it to be is that I wanted to make really introductory. So it really needs to be a series for people that are getting started with Vapor. Because I believe that people who are experts in Vapor, it's easy for them to make things done. But for people who are getting started, it might be a little bit difficult for find where is stuff, or how exactly I'm going to connect to a database, how exactly I'm going to connect to cache. So I'm going to try to make those things very easy on these videos, because they are easy, in fact, using Vapor.
Nice. All right. Yes. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. So still in Vapor, we have shipped invoices per email on Vapor and Envoyer. So basically, we have done this feature on Forge, and customers were really happy about it. So what happens is that every time you get a new invoice, you can just put your email on the form, and you get the invoice in your email every time a new invoice is available. Now, because the reaction in Forge was so cool from the customers, they really like it, we decided to ship this as well on Vapor and Envoyer. At this time, though, and this is an important thing, is that you actually get a button to download the invoice from the email. Nice. And while this works for most of the customer, there is some customers who want the actually PDF attached on the email, because their invoicing system works that way. So we did hear that feedback, and we are thinking about making it to our products soon. We need to make it in the way that is optional, because not everyone wants actually the PDF attached. But we are going to think about it.
Like, why wouldn't people want that? I think, like, why would it need to be optional?
Well, because I heard that sometimes some emailing systems can interpret that as a virus or whatever, or something not.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
important that it's just is a really an optional thing. People just check the
Yeah.
box saying that I want also the PDF attached,
Okay.
and that
Makes
will
sense.
work with their invoice system.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, and the final news about Vapor is that we shipped Postgres 11.10 support. So the reason why we added this new database to Vapor is that in October or December we have shipped RDS proxies.
Mhm.
And for people who don't know what RDS proxies is, it's basically databases in Vapor. They can crash dual connection limit restrictions. Because you are using Vapor, you expect that Vapor scales, and it does scale, but then traditional databases can eat some limitations because of the amount of traffic. So RDS proxies is a new thing that coming to Amazon and to AWS and to Vapor, which is basically a middleware that saves those connections and share those connections between requests. Makes your database handle so much more connections that would be possible. That's a very cool thing, and people like it very much, but was just supported by MySQL. So now we added Postgres 11.10, so you can use RDS proxies on Postgres as well on Vapor. So also a new thing.
Cool stuff.
Yeah. Have you tried Vapor yourself, Dries?
I haven't yet. Like, I haven't like hosted an app for it. I did like test it out a little bit, but not like hosted anything on it yet. I'm still using Forge a lot for my own stuff. I'm not sure like if I'm gonna use Vapor myself that fast, because I don't really have like really high request intensity based apps. So I'm not sure like if I'd used it for anything in production fast for myself, but it's definitely like a cool product. Like it solves like a really big problem in terms of like apps who have like high concurrent requests and high web requests like that.
Yeah, it's definitely like the type of infrastructure that gives you auto scaling features with zero maintenance. Like when you
Exactly.
just want everything to auto scale automatically with zero maintenance, you don't want to actually worry about your infrastructure at all. Vapor is a very nice solution, but probably for your own blog or for those small projects, Forge is also an option as well, indeed. And because we are talking about Forge, let me tell you as well that we shipped a new feature on Forge, call it the new default site page. So every time you every time you create a site on Forge, previously you create a new site and then you get the PHP info page. And we saw that this is a very nice opportunity to actually show the next steps on Forge for people who just created the website. So now if you create a new website, you see the new splash page that tells you, okay, welcome to your new website. Here are the next steps. You need to install a repository. Then you need to add the domain. And finally, you need to configure your DNS records.
It looks super nice.
Did you saw the page?
Yeah, it looks really good. It was a super good idea as well to do that.
So, and you also have some links below those first steps that give you like things to go deeper on this, like documentation, a Laracast series. Also gives you an introduction to circles, which is also a very nice feature on Forge. So yeah, the way that this feature got made, it was that I made the kind of the entire page. Then Taylor made his design work a little bit on the page, and finally James made the deployment. So it was a teamwork on that one.
Nice.
And to close this episode, we have kind of speak about it during this episode, but I think we didn't mention the release date for Spark. If you want to give it to everyone.
Yeah, so new Spark is coming next Tuesday, normally, if everything goes well. Really excited about it. Like it's been into works for quite a long time already, as you know, since it was last announced last summer by Taylor. And like I said, like Taylor and Mohammed have been working like super hard on it. Like they're doing the last bits and pieces now at the moment and making sure everything's fine-tuned for the release next Tuesday. I think it's going to be a really nice solution to a lot of people, especially since like now we don't only support Stripe but Paddle as well. So what people need to know about the new Spark is that it's going to be like two different Sparks actually. Like it's not going to be like one product. It's going to be Spark Paddle and Spark Stripe, which are two separate apps packages. But it's like so well done this time, because like it basically is built in a way that you don't need to modify your existing UI. It just integrates directly into your app, and that's been like a big hurdle that a lot of people like were tripping over in previous Sparks. That like when we did like UI updates and view updates, like they needed to keep up, and if they did custom changes themselves into the UI, it would like conflict a lot. So that's been a really big problem that's solved in the new Spark release. And I think like in terms of like what we did with Chatstream, like pulling out all of the authentication stuff, user profile management stuff, like two-factor thing, and pull that out into an open source package, like Spark can really focus now on what it's really was intended from the beginning to work like just like the billing aspect and invoicing your customers.
And I think I do agree with you. I think that the biggest feature in this new Spark, it's of course is amazing. The video that I saw, it's really truly amazing. But I think the thing I like the most is that it just works if you want to cable it to an existing project. So it's not only to start your next big idea, it's also if you want to just add some billing to your existing idea, you don't have to worry about it. So it's super nice. And if people at home, if they want to get an email to get notified when Spark is available, you can go to spark.laravel.com, which I just put the link in your chat, and you can just put your email and get notified when Spark is available, which should be this Tuesday as next Thursday, sorry, as Dries said.
Tuesday, I think.
Tuesday, exactly. Sorry.
No worries.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and we see you guys on episode 5. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening, all.
Yeah.
Bye.